So I'm just sharing my screen with you, and I'm just going to go to the folder where the Xampp is installed. So once you've downloaded Xampp, Xampp is pronounced Xampp. I've heard it pronounced Xampp. So it's a stack system. So the X is XML, I think the A is Apache, the M is MySQL, and PHP. So it's kind of like a sandwich of different layers, and you have like a web server called Apache. So when you download Xampp from the Xampp website, xampp.org, and install and run it, you get like a little control panel, and you probably get like a little icon in the bottom right hand corner of the screen, which you can right click on, and then you can run it from there as well. But if you run the control panel as shown, you've got different modules. So the first module is the web server. So if I click on the start button, it starts the web server up, and then you'll see if it's running, it goes green. There's also a MySQL server as well. Now that will go green, but in my case, it doesn't want to run because there's another instance running somewhere else on the system, which I have to shut down. Normally that doesn't happen, but because I've been messing around with different programs, something's hovering in the background, so stopping it from running. It comes with FileZilla. I've never used it, but it's basically for uploading web content, web pages and images, and so basically when you're publishing a website, you may want to use FileZilla. Actually, this is a server, not the actual uploader. So this is becomes an FTP server. So you can sort of simulate an FTP server on your local computer, on your laptop, and then you can configure your FTP server to link up to your HTTP server, which is your website. But you don't need to run this. I'm just showing you it's in the background. So I'll just stop that. So FileZilla server, not FileZilla client. There's two types of FileZilla. One is called a client, and one is called a server. The client is one that you can download off the web, and then you can use it to publish files onto a live website on the internet. FileZilla server is a piece of software that runs as a server, an FTP server. Okay, if you go into web browser and type localhost, it will give you the contents of that particular folder. Now mine's been running for a while, so I've changed the contents of the folder. But if I turn the server off, if I click stop and then refresh it, it's not going to work because it can't find it. So if I turn it back on again and then refresh it, it's gone to the folder. So you find this folder by going into C drive, Xampp. There should be a Xampp folder there because you've installed it. And then HTTP docs. And this is the folder where your files are stored. So your folders will be different because if you just installed it, you get some sort of you get some startup files. It's got a load of stuff in there which you can actually just delete it all. You don't necessarily need what's inside the HTTP docs folder. So if I was say to delete it, I'll just put it into a new folder for now, so as if I'm deleting it, that is. I'll just move it into there. So I've deleted everything in HT docs. If I refresh the window, it's kind of working, but it's just showing me a page. If I turn the web server off, it will just give me like site can't be reached. So localhost is the kind of default landing page for the local web server. It's also got a numerical value as well. I can't remember what it is. I mean, you can look it up online. Sorry, I don't know. Localhost IP address is 127. So it's that series of digits there. So if I put that in instead, yeah, it does the same thing. So that's kind of like the IP address. So the IP address is like house number, street name, area, and postcode. It's kind of a bit like that, and it's a bit like a telephone number. But we don't use them because they're too difficult to remember. So we tend to remember things like localhost, much easier to remember. So it does the same thing. And I think you call this a loopback address. So I can't remember numbers. Sorry. IP refers to your own server, basically. So it's called like a loopback. So it's a loopback address. That's what it does. So it kind of loops back onto your server. So once you've got that running, most people who are new to this will take a while to get to this stage. So once you got to this stage, things get a lot easier. So there is one more hurdle, which is to get WordPress installed. So once you've downloaded WordPress, if you unzip the folder, so you've got the folder unzipped, you can then copy the folder across. So if I just copy that folder back into the HT documents folder here. So when I refresh the window, it's now got WordPress folder in there. And this is the, actually I said it was easier, but it is easy in some ways, but setting up the WordPress site actually does require the MySQL server to be running, which this is a pain for me. I've had this problem before and I can't run it. I might have to go back and figure that one out. If you click on this folder here, it should come up with a loading page, so you can actually start to install. Because at the moment it's not fully installed, it's just like a package of files, but they need to be configured. So in order to configure them, we go through this step-by-step set of instructions. Now it's best to have like a pen and paper, so to write things down, because this is kind of like what has to be done sort of methodically. So you need to think of a name for the database, because WordPress runs on the back of a database, a username, password, host, which is localhost, and a table prefix. I think you can just use the default for that. So basically, you're going to just click on Let's Go, and then go through the steps. So we have to write down what we're doing here. So I'm just going to put in here some names. So this is the name of the database we want to use with WordPress. Database username. So I need to write that down. Password, I'm just going to leave it as admin for now. Obviously, in the real world, you'd use a complex password, but this is just for testing purposes. Database host is localhost, and then the table prefix is just WP. So I'm just going to pause the recording for a moment. Okay, so I managed to. I had to stop a service running. I had MySQL 80 running in the background. I don't know where that's from exactly, but it was running in the background, and I just had to stop that service so that I can now start my SQL server here. So you can see if I stop it, click start, it should stay green. Is that okay so far? Okay, so I've actually named the database here cycling. So I need to create that database in this thing here. Now I can go into admin. I can click on admin. It's probably easier to click on admin actually, or I can type in here local. Oh gosh, I can't remember the address now. Localhost /php myadmin. Yeah, so I typed in localhost php myadmin, and I think it's the same as clicking on the admin button here. And then I can create a new database. So you may not have seen this before, so I apologise if it's a bit new. But on the left-hand side here, you've got databases, and these are the ones that I've created. But you won't have any in there. So, but these are ones I've created ages ago. So I just need to create a new database. So if I click on, I think I'll just click on this link here, and then looking at my notes here, I'm going to call it cycling. So whatever you've got yours as, I'm calling it cycling, and then I'm going to click create. So I've just created a database there called cycling. That's all I needed to do. Now that I'll just show you some examples of database. The database is on the left, and then here you've got the tables. So this one is an old database of mine, which I got a table called users. And you see the users table is made up of first name, second name, username, and password. It's in a kind of like unusual format in that, well, no, maybe not unusual, but it's got row records going across horizontally, and you've got columns, which are the fields. So this is a simple database, very simple. Doesn't have many records, doesn't have many fields, and it's just very, very basic. But you can manage your database by using any of these links. Like, for example, if I wanted to click on this delete button here, it would delete that whole record. And it's also, yeah, because let's just move that across. You see there that it's got like structure, so you can change the structure of the table. This is the table structure. This is the contents of the tables. This is the contents of that particular table. And there's various other operations that you can do as well. But for the time being, I've just created a database called cycling, and it's got no tables in the database, because what happens is when I click on submit here, it should automatically start building the tables that would populate this database. So Okay, let me just check that for a moment. Okay, sorry, I think I might have just got a bit confused there. I think we can just use the defaults, which is admin and root. I'll just try this one. So admin and root, I think they're the defaults for the for Xampp. So just start recording again. Beg your pardon. I think it might be root as the username, and then the password is just blank. So I'm going to go back to this one here and put in root there for the username, and then leave the password blank, and then see if that works. I haven't seen this message before. Okay, so that's in the WP config file. You may not need to do this because your installation is like a fresh one, so it might be easier for you. So I'm just going to go into WordPress here, find the config file. Well, my installation is right. Xampp WP config. So it's going to create a new one. So it says here the okay. I'll just put another one in here. See, I put the file here with that script in. I'm just going to click the run installation. So this setup's changed since I last used it, so apologies for being a bit vague. I'm just going to give it a site title then, so cycling so this is where I put in the username. So the username, instead of being root, I can make something up here. So I'm just going to put in my name there, and then the password. I'm just going to leave it as admin. Keep it simple, and confirm use of weak password. Email address for recovery. It's useful to have this as well. I can discourage search engines from indexing the site, so I'll add a bit of code to stop it from being indexed so nobody can find the website. So if you want to keep it private, and then I just click on install WordPress. Then it says here complete, and if I log in, if I put in my username and then password was admin, I can then log in. So now that's running off from this folder here, htdocs in this folder, Xampp folder on the C drive, Xampp folder, htdocs, and then this folder here is now configured to run WordPress. And if I look at the database cycling, you see how now it's populated with tables. So the actual setup procedure has actually created the WordPress backend with all the databases, WP prefix for WordPress. It's got all this sort of stuff in there, and that will kind of interact in the background. So as I'm developing, for example, new pages or adding plugins to make the site more interactive, or changing the themes, it will automatically update the database in phpMyAdmin. So if I wanted, say, to change the theme, I can activate this, and now I've got a new look website. Interesting, they've got a theme called Morisot, and she was an impressionist painter from the 1800s. Most of the painters were male, or men. I don't think there were many female impressionists, and they've named a theme after her. That's interesting. So you can change, you can start building the website. You can start to, for example, if you go to settings, reading, okay, it's already defaulted to a static page, so static page website, but you can also turn it into a blog or static page. You can put your posts on a blog page. It's kind of done that for you, and it's given you various selection for your posts, but you've got that one. And then you've got things like pages. So these are the pages: about, blog, contact, and so on. And under menu, under appearance, you can look at menus, and you can start to change the menu as well. You can move them around, for example, or you can make them sub-menus like this. So if I save the menu and then click on this link here, you can see how it's created like a sub-menu. I mean, it's not very good, but it just gives you the idea. Actually, it works quite fast, because usually it's quite slow. So maybe there's some improvements. Just before I finish, I've got to stop recording in a moment. If you look at the file structure, you can add in like plugins. You can insert installed ones, or you can add a new one. So if I sort of try, I'll just type in carousel. Photo, something to do with photos then. So if I wanted to put a photo gallery in, if I click install now, I can install this photo gallery. So it's an image gallery. So if you've got like a photography website, you can make it commerce. Click on activate because the plugin's installed, but it just needs to be activated as well. So the existing plugins were these two at the top, these two, and then the third one I just added is like a photo gallery plugin, and you'll see down here now it's got some extra menus. So you can add a gallery, for example. Can add a new gallery, and then you can start to add images, for example. Give it a title. Then you can drag, I think you can drag and drop images, like if you've got some photographs or something like that. You could drag and drop some photographs. No. Upload. So you can drag and drop them onto there. So I'm just uploading a file there. Just dragged and dropped it onto this window. No, it doesn't seem to work. Oh, it has worked. I just didn't see it, that was all. So add selected images to gallery. Select them. Select all then. I haven't used this before, but it's okay. I guess it's some kind of like folder where things go. So now I've added them, and it gives you all descriptions as well. So you can, I mean, yeah, with website design, it's good to have proper descriptive alt text. So this could be helps people who are partially sighted or blind to know what your photographs are. So that's kind of important for disability and to avoid discrimination against people, who can't see. If they're using a speech browser, they want to be able to have the text or the images described to them because they can't see the images necessarily. Okay, so if I the tag here, the tag update. Sometimes you have to click update, and then the tag here is the okay. I'm not quite sure how to do this, but normally you'd have to type in some code or something just to add it to the web page. I'll just finish off there. What I was going to say was that when you're adding plugins and changing the themes, if you go into the folders, okay. When you go into the WordPress folder, go into Content folder, go into Plugins, you see that the plugin that I installed is called Photo Gallery, and it's done all that for me. Okay, so you can actually do it directly by installing the folders directly, the plugin directly by dragging and dropping the folder into this folder. It's the same with themes as well. If I wanted to add more themes, I could just go into that folder and then put the theme in there. So if I just, for example, type WordPress themes, quite often the more fancy ones you have to pay for, but there are you can sort of try out some free ones as well. So just type free WordPress themes. Download it. Okay, so I've got that theme there called 2022 blah blah blah. So if I just copy that, go back to the Xampp folder, content, and then themes. I just paste it there, and then if I just take the folder out, so I'm just unzipping it basically, delete the zipped one. If I go back to my website here, click on appearance, and then themes, that's the one I've just added, this one here. So basically I've added it by going sort of directly to the folder.